You have three choices in life. You can either give up, give in, or give it all you've got. When I was in prep school, I had all these friends. And in high school, I could have been your poster child for awkward. I even had one of those headgears that looked like it was made from a wire handle. And my school had this thing where they thought it'd be encouraging to circle your failing grades in red. So my report card looked like an illuminated Christmas tree. I went through most of high school 100% confident that I was done. I could have given up, but I did surprisingly okay on my CXCs. At 18 years old, I went to my parents and I told them, I'm leaving home. My mom stole and hid my passport. But on the night before I left, she gave it back to me. It still didn't dawn on me how immature I was that I hadn't even checked my travel documents. But I was 18 years old, so I knew everything about everything. Off I went to America with $200 in my pocket, determined to be independent. Within the first week, I got a job. Within the first year, I moved into this tiny little studio apartment on my own. By then I had settled and I was working with Bell South Mobility, which later became AT&T. And I worked hard. I worked nights, weekends, I did almost anything my manager asked me to do. I learned their opening and closing procedures and their inventory control systems. Sometimes I even worked till 11 o'clock at night on my own. And every time I got to get promoted, somebody else get the job. I could have given in, but eventually I became assistant manager, and then I even got promoted to other managerial roles. But then I got sick. I went to the doctor and he gave me some tablets and he's like, listen, you can take these if you're feeling bad, but don't worry, it's nothing too serious. A year later, when I realized I could no longer take a shower without sitting or comb my hair without feeling like I was literally about to die, I went back to the doctor. And when you look at the test results, he's like, well, why you take so long? I was like, but I thought you said it was nothing serious. It was nothing for my heart rate to go up to 200 simply by combing my hair or standing up to cook a meal. My heart was over here like, Usain Bolt! And my body's over here going, we don't even do the PE thing, you know. I went through a year of medical prodding and poking. No diagnosis, no reason as to why I felt so bad. I thought for sure I wouldn't live to see age 22. Eventually I got referred to an electrophysiologist, and after more and more tests, they decided to do an ablation. A relatively simple procedure where they would go up through your groin with a catheter and burn the electricity off your heart. I was so excited I was finally going to feel good. But it wasn't even 2 weeks later and I was back to feeling terrible all over again. I went on to have 6 more ablations and a pacemaker. You know the Energizer Bunny? I became him. Battery operated. I was doing pretty good. I bought a little condo on my own and I went back to work full time. But when I went back to work, they started restructuring and I realized this is not the job for me, this is not my long-term plan. I called up my area manager and I was like, listen, I'm going to resign. She offered me $15,000 to stay, and at the time it was so tempting. But I told her no, I was now 26 and I was going to pursue my degree in computer science. So I took a loan out of the house, went back to school full time, determined to finish in a year as the finances would allow. I took 7 subjects a semester. But while I was studying computer science, I decided to study sign language simultaneously. And at the end of the degree program, I went to my advisor and I was like, listen, I've fallen in love with the deaf community and I'm going to go and work with them. But my advisor was an amazing woman and she said, well, why not marry the two? She convinced me to stay to do my master's and I got accepted to the scholarship program. I took out loans to cover my living expenses. As a result of her mentorship and guidance, I got to go to the Google's Women for Engineers workshop. I did my master's exchange in Argentina, where I did my thesis on web accessibility for the hearing impaired. And just before I graduated, I got hired at Raytheon, a company that specializes in civil and governmental cybersecurity solutions in Minneapolis, as a software engineer. But if you can imagine how welcoming and inviting the whole of Minneapolis is, yeah, me neither. I think it scared me so much I decided to move back to Jamaica. And on my quest for a job, I got hired at CXC, but the position would be based here in Barbados. It's really not that hard to fall in love with this beautiful island. I had a really inspiring CEO, Dr. Didika Struz, and I never thought I would leave the stability of that job. But just before the end of my contract, I started getting requests to build applications and websites, and I could no longer manage the workload on my own, so I hired another developer and thus started WebStyles Limited. So here I am, 38 years old, 16 more years than I thought I was going to live. I'm doing so good, I go to the gym every day, but mostly because I have a love affair with food and wine. Apart from our profit jobs, we're able to work with non-profit organizations, the Diabetes Association, the Schoolhouse for Special Needs, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Bridgetown. So everybody has something to give back. So you have three choices in life: give up, give in, or give it all you've got.